Rural retirement. As you can see behind me. Great place, but is it safe? I'll give you some pros and cons in a couple seconds here. First, let me just share a story with you. When I first moved out here to be being retired, it's a small community in the high desert, maybe 2,500 people, okay? Very small community. So I went down to the post office to get my P.O. box, was having a nice conversation with the person working there, and I said, "Is this a nice place to live?" She kind of looks at me with a kind of like a little smirk. And she was about my age, so she's had some experiences, lived here for about 20 years, 30 years actually. She looks at me and she goes, "It's a great place if you stay away from certain areas." And I was like, "Okay, what does that mean?" She goes, "Well, there are certain places you just don't want to go, especially at night." So let me start off with that on the cons of rural areas. Number one, and I'll get to what I just mentioned in a second, but number one, and this is like the thing that I find, especially coming from Los Angeles, is there's really not much to do. If you don't mind, having not many alternatives, let's just put it that way, you'll be fine. Luckily, I'm in a position where I'm here part-time. This is my house, but I'm here part-time. I go back and forth to Los Angeles to see my girlfriend. So I'm here a couple weeks, there a couple weeks. So in my case, if I get bored of nothing to do, I just wait couple weeks, I can have everything I want to do. In my situation, it works out great. But just realize this, there's not much to do in a rural area usually. Number two, lack of diversity. I'm mixed. I'm a mutt. I'm all over the place. I am Mexican. I am German. I am British. I have some American Indian in me. Usually when you go to a rural area, there's not much diversity. The area that I'm in is overwhelmingly Caucasian, white, and there's nothing wrong with that for me. I can kind of blend in anywhere with my complexion, the way I look. But if that bothers some of you, just realize there's not much diversity in rural areas, at least the ones that I've noticed, the ones that I've researched. So if that bothers you, doesn't bother me, but some people it might, okay? Number three, going back to my original story, there can be a lot of drug use in some rural areas because in a lot of cases, these are the places that people go when they don't want to be reached, when they can do where they can do whatever it is they want to do, whenever they want to do it. So there's a lot of drug use, at least in the area that I'm in the high desert of Southern California. When I was mentioning that story from the beginning, the lady at the post office, that's why she said, there are areas you do not want to go to in this town, especially after dark. In this case, it's methamphetamines. A lot of meth use going on around here. So what that does also is that it can also increase the crime rate in certain small towns because a lot of people that are dependent on, in this case, meth, they go around and they can steal. I heard it's a bad problem in this area. Again, I hope I'm not making generalizations. That does not mean that all small rural areas have this issue. In my case, in other places I've heard of, in the Southern California area, it can be rampant. Okay, so enough of the bad stuff. Let's go to the pros. Lower cost of living. Lower cost of living. It's huge. I came from Los Angeles. Cost of living was ridiculous. I was able to purchase a house here for a little over $200,000, okay? Try doing that anywhere in the LA area. You can't even get a tear down for that. So cost of living, cost of real estate, much lower. The gas prices, even though we're still in Southern California, the gas prices are about $1 less than they are in Los Angeles. Cost of living, huge change of pace in a rural area. Number two, now I mentioned this in the cons where there's not much to do. There's really not much to do, but look around me. Look at the beauty, you know? And if you don't mind a slower pace, if a slower pace is good for you, if that's just what you're looking for in retirement, hey man, rural places, they got it. Slower pace. So what that means to me, and again, I have the option of going back and forth. What that means to me, I can just calm down. I had a kind of a stressful job right before I retired. So for this is manna from heaven. Slower pace. If you're up for that, go to a rural area. Tons of slower pace. The third pro, people are very down to earth. Very down to earth. If that's what you're looking for, someone who's not going to have any attitude, as far as putting on airs, putting on things that they just aren't. You know, trying to fake everyone out, but it's like, hey, look over here, look at how well I'm doing, when deep down inside, they're not doing that well, right? They really aren't. Down to earth people. I mean, it's great. You know, they say what's on their mind, but there's no airs, there's no attitude, especially coming from Los Angeles, man. I was so full of that, especially working in the music industry for almost 20 years. My God, man, you try and find someone who didn't have an attitude. It was ridiculous. So, hey, down to earth, great people. Sometimes it might take a little while to get to know them, but once you do, they're your friend for life. If you're looking for that, a rural area is a great place to be. So, those are my pros and cons of rural areas. Overall, I would say I'm giving this, out of all those pros and cons, an 8 out of 10 as far as where I relocated to after I've been here almost a year to the day now that I bought my place. Having a great time. Anyway, if any of you guys enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. My name is Duane. I retired about a year and 8 months ago now on a little over $500,000. So we have a community that we got together of people around that same income level they might retire on, moderate income. If you're looking for ways to do this, if you're looking for a community that can support you in doing this, or even if you know you're a long way from retirement, jump on in, man. We got a lot of ideas going. And also, if you do like this video, please like it as well. I'd really appreciate it. And to my subscribers, guys, keep those comments coming. Keep them coming to me. I love them. Give me some ideas of what you'd like me to do on videos. And I've seen a couple of those and I've written them down and I will be doing them in the future. Okay? So keep those comments coming. And guys, you know, if you're looking for a slow pace and a place to go, can't beat the rural areas, but be aware there are some cons. But regardless of this, guys, just remember, wherever we go, wherever we are, as long as we stick to our guns, we got this.